What's up, guys? This is Rich here, bringing you another workout leading into some DEKAFIT and HYROX prep. This is another progression from the last workout. So each week we're going to be bringing you brand new workouts that you can try out on your own and just showing you some of the reasons behind the why and just going through some form tips and different ideas about how to prepare for different obstacle course races. So let's get into it. First, let's just kind of take a look at what this workout's going to look like. So standard warm up here, then we're going to move into row, run, balls intervals. So it is 3 rounds, 500 meter row, 400 meter run, 50 wall balls, 2 minutes rest. Then we're going to do some sled volume work, 3 rounds, 250 ski erg, 20 meter sled push, 200 meter run, 20 meter sled push, no rest in between. And then we're just going to finish with an every minute on the minute for 12 minutes, switching between 3 different movements of 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. We're going to do the assault bike, we're going to do some sled pulls, and we're going to do some farmer's walks. So you can see these are all elements that are going to be within either HYROX or DEKAFIT. So just kind of putting them all together in some different areas just so we can figure out how to create a different stimulus. So let's get into what the workouts actually looked like. So we're getting started on the concept 2 for the first workout, which is a 500 meter row, which is supposed to be at about race pace or below. So this would probably be sub race pace for something like a HYROX, where the HYROX distance is going to be a little bit longer, like it's going to be 1,000 meters versus a DEKAFIT, which is 500. This particular workout is gonna be about 500 meters of this row. So it's gonna be cranking around what I would expect for a DEKAFIT effort. And that looks like right now probably like 137, 138 per 500 meters. So going pretty hard. And where things that I want to really dial into is that push of the legs. So you can see the legs, a lot of times it looks like a pull movement and there is an actual pulling of the upper body, but when you're rowing, it needs to be a push through your legs and through your heel. So having the strap in there is just a way to make sure that the momentum that you are generating from the push doesn't kick you off of the rower. But if you aren't putting in the work on the rower, like if you're not pushing down and you're using all pull, you're leaving a lot of energy, you're leaking a lot of energy and you're leaving a lot of performance on the table. So you should really be able to not even have your feet strapped in here. And it's a really good drill to do if you're doing like a warm-up is not strapping your feet in, just to make sure you are using that push. So one thing I need to work on is keeping my arms completely straight as I'm finishing this push. So came off right around 138 and headed out for my 400 meter run here. And we just kind of cut that out and right back into some of the wall balls. So 50 wall balls here. Last week I did 2 rounds of 50 wall balls and they were all unbroken. And this week was the same goal, trying to make sure that we're getting through everything as quickly as possible and not really resting here. This is less than the wall balls in the for HYROX itself, but putting it all together, getting a little bit more volume. That's like the point of intervals, right? Is to be able to do more work without putting your body through as much strain, if that makes sense. So it's gonna be 150 wall balls total of volume in this, but not done at the all-out race effort that would be for a HYROX, and not getting us to that point of complete exhaustion, and working in these things after some rowing and some running. The reason there's rest behind this, because there is no real, because I want to push this as hard as I can here to try to make it unbroken, because there is no run after wall balls during HYROX. So that's the idea behind this. So you can see again, trying to push through and really driving through the hips. What I was really focusing on here was the catch. You can see I'm already on my way down as I'm catching the ball. And that it just really helps with some of that energy. It's like completely free energy as you're coming down and getting to that bottom, so it can drive it back up with the momentum, and just really kind of get in the flow of things. You can see the ball is caught right in front of my chin each time. So that first set was about 430, 435, which is perfect. That's the only one we're going to look at here. And I was really happy how consistent I was through this workout, as it was hard. Like, and at one point that I did want to take a look at was the one thing I wanted to focus on here also was the running after the row, which was definitely a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge for DEKAFIT and for HYROX. So getting off that rower and running as hard as I possibly can. My runs were around 1:28. So I remember coming into the building from the time I left the building for the time I started the wall balls. So it was around 124, 125 for the 400 meters, which is about 540 pace, which is going to be good for a HYROX effort, but not very fast for a DEKAFIT effort. Some of the top guys in DEKAFIT in the first one in Dallas were running, 5:13s, 5:16s for the entire time. So it's something that I'm definitely going to need to put in some work. And again, this is training. I had been doing a lot. I did some running before this, and I was tired. So ideally, the running will come along a little bit faster. It did feel comfortable, which was encouraging, and it didn't take a lot out of me coming into the wall balls, as for all 3 rounds, I was able to go unbroken, which of course was the main goal for that. So that is one thing leading into this workout when I was designing it, was what I really wanted to accomplish was how, like, with that feeling that I wanted to get was how I was going to feel coming off the rower and getting right into the running. So a little bit slower off, a couple of steps, and then off to the run as I get back here again to do these wall balls. So right into it again, not too much of a transition there, not too slow off of things. So again, here I am trying to keep my heels on the ground for the wall balls, which is important. Once you start kind of jumping things up or getting onto the toes, you're losing a lot of that energy that you're trying to drive through the ground to create. As we get tired, I will definitely come onto my toes. I'll even jump a little bit in the last couple reps if I'm really trying to grind things out. Incredibly unsustainable to do that. So keeping and driving through the heels is what's important. With these type of running shoes, the shoes that I'm wearing now, they're Skechers Razor Plus. They're a 4mm drop. They are decently cushioned, but they're not a super soft cushion, a little bit more of a responsive cushion. So I get a decent amount of stability out of them for a gym shoe. They're not incredibly durable in the gym, so I wouldn't recommend doing all the work that you need to do in the gym with these on. But they're what I'm going to plan on wearing for the race. So, and there's not a problem with them in any way. So this workout was incredibly consistent. I was really happy with it. Doing 3 sets of 4 minutes and 30 seconds of work, I was really happy with. So, and again, I wanted to kind of keep it in that 4 to 6 minute rep range for these type of intervals. That's really sustainable to keep a high level of effort. If you think about it in terms of running, this would be kind of in that interval VO2 max type of interval workout. The energy systems will be worked the same that it would in terms of running, but the effort was pretty solid overall. So after this was when I'm going to pause this real quick. So after that workout, I lost the SD card was full on the GoPro, so just kind of working through that. I just bought a bigger one, so we won't have to have it. So this is from the cell phone, so the quality is going to be worse as I had to zoom in quite a bit. So this workout, again, is 250 meters on the Ski Erg, and we'll just get things started because that's not incredibly exciting. 250 meters on the Ski Erg, and then a lot of pushing the sled. So I lost my shirt here. It's getting warmer, and that's just how I roll. But with the sled push, it's something that is going to be tremendously important for the HYROX for me. It's just like really heavy and needing to put in a lot of volume here. So that was the whole idea behind this workout. So each length of the sled push during this workout is about 10 meters. So I did 20 meters at a time and then split it up. And that way I was able to really establish a lot more volume than what I typically would with a regular workout. So if I was going to do like 500 meters, 50 meters at a time, which is the length that is needed for HYROX, it just wouldn't have been sustainable to do. So again, I've been working on my form quite a bit. When the weights are stacked this high, there's nowhere else to put my face besides like directly on the weights, and it's actually fairly comfortable off to the side. I'm drifting a little bit, and that is something I do need to work on, is keeping that sled straight. And I'm sure that when I'm on it and kind of crooked, that's part of the problem. And especially looking at this now, being able to keep that thing straight is going to be helpful. And I'm just a little bit crooked and leaning in a little bit more with my right because the side of my head is tilted that way. So a big focus of this workout was trying to keep the recovery down in between the sets, because this is such a big effort that it is hard to keep going. So I wanted to make sure like that I didn't rest for a tremendous amount of time. That's how it started, and it was a pretty good spot. I was hoping like 10 seconds. When I was rewatching the workouts, the HYROX in Dallas, Magida and Hunter were resting only about a couple of seconds at a time. And here's a place where I get a little bit too high on the sled, and you can see it just kind of tips forward. So I need to make sure I'm getting really, really low on this sled, which again, why my face needs to come directly into the plates. So we're going to go out for a run real quick and skip that. Just about 200 meters. It was very slow. The legs felt okay. Just my energy was a little zapped at this point in the workout. Again, was a pretty big day. So by the time I had finished everything, or got to this workout, I was pretty tired. It looks like I didn't cut this out of the video, which I should have. So we're back. And getting right into it again, it's like just a little bit hard. I need to get a little bit lower, but again, as that weight is stacked that high. So one thing with this style of sled push, where our elbows are really kind of tucked in, it does make it hard to breathe. It's hard. It like compresses my rib cage and into my diaphragm quite a bit. So as I come off, here's one. It's we'll time this one of what the rest is going to look like. I was hoping for 10 seconds here. This is set 1 of 3. Again, there's no rest built into this. So that rest was about 15 seconds, which is a little bit longer than what I was hoping for, because I was trying to take out these 10 meters at a time, because I think that would be ideal and sustainable in a HYROX. Something I could do like 5 sets of 10 would be the best case, and have the rest be 8 to 10 seconds. So not resting like this, but when you're tired, sometimes like the plan doesn't go according to plan. And then I headed back to the Ski Erg here. So as I was saying, on the sled push, pulling those elbows in tight does really compress like a lot of your diaphragm and into the ribs, and it makes it hard to breathe. So I have not had success extending my arms up over my head during the push. I have pretty poor thoracic mobility and overhead stability. So I can't, and it just creating that longer contact point hasn't seemed to be an advantage for me. It would help get a little bit lower where I do need to be. I need to get my hips at about 90 degrees to really push this thing hard. And but I just can't quite get there. I just kind of leak energy when things are up over my head, so it makes it incredibly difficult to push that thing along. So on the Ski Erg, this was pretty much held at 148, 147 ish for the 250. And that's just me just waiting it out, just waiting until it's done, not trying to get any more pulls than needed on this. This whole workout was about the pushes, and everything else in between was just a way to kind of make things a little bit more fatiguing. Oh, I did forget to mention that this weight, it is a little bit higher than the HYROX weight itself. The HYROX weight is 370. This is 395. So doing that, because because the carpet, I'm assuming here, is going to be easier than the carpet at HYROX, wherever it happens to be. The carpet matters apparently, so I got to kind of prepare for it to be terrible. So I made the weight a little bit heavier for this push and for the push during and for the pull in the EMOM after, just as a way to hopefully be able to be ready for what that push is going to look like. So let's see what this rest ends up looking like here. And again, it's just such a massive effort. So that one was better. That was about 10 seconds moving into it. And going forward with this type of workout, I think that it's just going to need to be sled push after sled push and really just focusing on this shorter recovery for things and not walking around so that I can create more time to rest. Definitely some frustration kind of built into this, into the rest as well, which I will also need to kind of account for during the HYROX event. So this is just unacceptable. Like, I just need to start pushing this thing again. And it's just, I'm not that tired. My legs aren't burning that much. It's just a little bit hard to breathe, and that sucks. It's just like a little bit hard. So like wrapping my head around continuing to push it is a pretty big struggle. But like as we got out to the run, like the transition wasn't that bad. It wasn't too hard to kind of get things up and moving. And this is me just coming back, so I did cut that out. Got a little burp action in place before we come in. And again, so you can see I need to be lower right from the start and kind of drop under that thing. I was trying to count my steps as well, trying to figure out the best strategy to kind of go through what it's going to look like on the day, and having be like, okay, 20 or 30 steps. Can't really tell what the setup is going to be like, if it's going to be a full-on longer effort. See, I don't even remember doing this, like leaning against a bike, but that was the full 10 meters, which I'm happy with, to get done. And I really need to focus on doing that. I can't stop after 5 or 8. It needs to be at least 10. That rest was almost 20 seconds, and that's too long. So definitely an area of development for this workout in general, in trying to push this freaking sled. All right, so I hope that was helpful. So I got cut off there a little bit, but you got the basic gist. Just trying to build volume in some different areas of these 2 or 3 specific movements that are going to be needed the most for these events. So running off the rowing and just doing a lot of sled pushing. So if you're liking these videos, drop a comment below. Let us know what else you'd like to see. Give us a like and a subscribe so you can get all the newest when it comes to athlete interviews, training, workouts, and training philosophy here at Reinforced Running. Great. Talk to you soon.